These kind of pressure games at the major, every comm is going to feel a little bit more excited than usual.
We got Jukes turning back to look towards the elbow. His teammate Lounge is dead, so Kansas always put himself in a good spot to at least get that burst, but then traded through the smoke. Important trade from Jukes, keeps things even. And that bomb sitting outside of B right now for Bait. It's going to be under a lot of pressure because it looks like Foot are not going to be relenting. Well, unfortunately, NPL's actually just caught a great timing. Jukes, an interesting decision to drop off and make it so audible, thinking they were never going to be peaked at heaven. He had no one watching it, no one supporting him, and he's lost his life and given the advantage back.
That's a huge mistake. I'm not sure the thought process there, just thinking it was going to be clear this whole time. So a little bait and switch with Krebeni and Symmetry's op, but Symmetry might have to step away at various points to keep an eye on this V ramp. Especially with the shallow smoke, they can pop through that and be close to him before he'd ever expect it. Does look for the moment with 48 seconds left on the clock. This is where Bait want to finish.
Now, best chance to win the round for a Foot. You've got two players here.
And that smoke in Red Room is going to keep Demon frozen for a little bit.
Here comes the Util through the sky. Execution up. Flash ready to go for Sizzy. That's the final piece of utility that will signal the attack. And you've got NPL winning the engagement against Krebeni, so you need Symmetry to go massive. He's got the first, goes out again, but this time Alex puts him in the grave. You've got Demon charging into the open, but Sizzy has it covered, and Bait do respond. So back to even odds again, 4-4 on the board.
Look at the difference even just like a small advantage can make for the T side for Bait. You don't even really get like an over. You get the first kill, but it's traded off pretty much immediately. But even the 4-on-4, you can see the Foot scrambling in that situation. Only 3 defenders trying to figure out where to go. Once you thin it out and players have to move around the map, you get way more opportunities to find an additional kill on top of that. That one's just a brain fart. It's just like...
Yeah, it's a great way of putting it.
That's all I got.
Yeah, absolutely is.
None of his teammates were there like at all throughout the rounds.
Mistake for sure. Well, Sizzy, look at that, being absolutely bombarded by utility. Kansas are blind as hell, but Jukes able to come out on top, then spins towards heaven as well. And just like that, the pace from Foot has resulted in 3 early kills.
Just gonna constantly keep fighting you, keep challenging you, undeterred by the previous round loss. And within 30 seconds, Bait is down to just 2 players surviving. Whatever strategy they had is just done.
Yeah, your round's over. Just so disruptive, so suffocating from Foot on the CT side there. Great flashes in middle, blinded everybody, including the Foot players, but Kansas was just white screen right until Jukes was up at his face.
Just yet another example of how much that mid-fight can dictate how the round plays, especially if both teams are sending multiple bodies there.
And also great nades towards Sizzy, right? Like the AWP just getting naded over towards the outside of Cave.
He's having a real hard time finding any comfort in this game so far, Sizzy.
Yeah, it feels like he's sludging through mud. It's just a terrible start for him.
Well, a long extended save for Essential and Alex as they'll be able to buy up some weapons in the next round. Alex and Essential won't get any bonus money, but Sizzy and Kenzazor are going to get some extra cash in the bank. $2,400 losing bonus as well. So be able to get some more rifles around these 2 saved AK-47s, and then they'll just try again. Over on the other stream, another game going on. Payne versus Tyloo, the match on the B stream. If you guys want to head over there, that's going to be Sponge and Machine taking you through it.
I mean, Tyloo coming out of stage 1, but Payne, I think a team that really impressed me at the last couple of events we've seen from them, because I thought they'd just fallen off the face of the earth, to be honest.
They did there for a time. You're not wrong on that one.
But able to show us a little bit of something.
See if Big Uzera can piece it together one more time for a decent major run.
Tyloo Payne played 2 weeks ago as well at CAC. So a lot of events on the lead up to the major, wasn't there? All over the globe.
Everyone's scrambling to get some VRS points as well for the next season. A lot of action going on.
A lot of action going on the bottom of the B ramp right now. You've got Jukes, who's again just keeping up the same pressure. He's already at heaven, over the ledge. Got a boost going on. They can't really get these boosts to land perfectly, but you've got Symmetry, who's ready for that dry walk up the ramp. He's going to take a dry peek all day long. You want to give him another one? Here he is.
Hoppers have been nervous about holding these angles, though, over the course of CS2. Symmetry doesn't seem too dissuaded by it. Good utility to counter this fast play. That flash is perfect. Bouncing off the wall, bouncing off the brick. And no access into the bomb site for Bait. They're held so far back, no success, no kills, not even any damage.
Look how quick those blue dots just swarm that B bomb site as well. Once they realize, okay, it's definitely B. That's just the rotation is instant from Foot. There's no way you were breaking through that if you're Bait. So they go back to a buy. You're going to have an AWP for Sizzy again. We've said that a lot. He's had it so many times. Just hasn't been able to find a way to make it work yet on this T side.
Yeah, really hard for Bait at the moment. I mean, that round two is just like, that's Foot pushing down middle, seeing it clear, and just kind of immediately recognizing what's likely. They're going to be happy to play retake on the A bomb site. We've already seen him retake it a couple of times with good effect in this match. So they're not too scared of the A bomb site, but stacking towards B was perfect.
And look at this, Alex fast and actually manages to win the engagement. They're just going to rush on A. They just got that space out towards A main. That's great work, but the bomb is all the way back.
It's not so much Bait, it's how much panic is Foot feeling at the moment. Miss CT smoke helps them get a lot of information. That's actually a massive mistake.
Oh, they get blocked at the door here as well.
Yeah, but this is also a product of that missed smoke. Jugs has clear line of sight into the A bomb site, and he's like, yeah, I know they got the kill in A main, but nobody else is here. It felt like a B rush, but nobody's home. So Krabbenny and Lonks don't need to move. Symmetry rotating back.
Oof.
And even in a 4-on-5, it feels like Foot kind of have the advantage.
Well, at least the advantage of information, which can be all important because you can set yourself up to go out there and get that kill back. And now if you're Bait, you had such a great start, but it feels like you've stalled out.
And now you know the AWP is at the B bomb site. Oh, okay, Krabbenny gives away a kill, gives one right back. Jugs has to get over quickly, but there's 45 seconds. Still time for this Bait team to join up with Alex in A main. Lounx has the unenviable job of covering the A bomb site without knowing anything that's happening. And now another teammate has gone down.
Funneling forward and giving Bait the advantages back. And Alex is going to once again start his progression towards A. And they are going to bring that bomb over towards the A bomb site for the finish. And you'll see probably just the save of the two AK-47s, no issue there for Foot on the other side. So 6-5, definitely a lot more competitive.
I mean, the Pisteron and the two ensuing are obviously helping out in a big way, but give credit over to Big for kind of working through these issues. Yeah. 6 of the last 7 have gone the way of Foot. 3 of those have been flawless victories with all 5 players surviving. But Bait starting to piece together of ways to get started in these rounds, and that's one of the few rounds we've seen Foot just feel like they didn't know what the hell to do on the map. Everyone kind of peeking to try and figure out and try and piece together what Bait's doing, and all of them losing their life in the process. So Bait get 5 rounds, and we head into the final round of the first half.
Long's going to try and rip some weapons out of their hands as the AWP down first. Okay, Longs, this is a lot of damage being done. He is taking pretty much everybody. In fact, Jukes gets the last, so... Okay, that's a lot of damage done at the end because you cannot afford to get the AWP back.
That's actually so sick.
That's actually massive.
You actually can't even afford to get AKs out.
Oh, wow. He's just ripped it out of them.
Yeah, that's actually such a cool call from Foot to just punish the escape. 4 kills, mows them all down. And instead of bringing a wealth of AK-47s and having full sets of utility, Bait going to come into this last round out of the Foot timeout. They're playing with 4 Galils instead, 1 AK-47, no AWP. Foot have set themselves up to have a lead going into the second half, looking for that 7th. As Bait are going to battle to even the scoreline.
Yeah, weapon superiority right now for Foot. Looking forward to the possibility of a 7th round win. Smoke a little bit too deep, so you can actually just walk through it into middle. And getting MPL's opening kill towards Krabbenny is only going to make Bait feel a lot more comfortable about the start of this round.
Oh yeah, for a long stretch it was tough for them to find openings, so getting one here, they're loving it. Red Room smoke is a little bit off, so Jugs toys with the left edge of it.
Now, creeping up back to safety as Kenz's AWP is in the open. Once Juke steps out to the left side of that smoke, so a smart way to go back and get that advantage as Long steps forward. MPL also toppling. So it really is Foot just responding in a way that you can't really even challenge.
Now Lonks gets that through smoke. I wonder if he actually saw anything ahead of time. They're going to beat that molly as it comes in. Lonks dumps the mag. Okay, issues now for this defense. Jugs is here to save the day.
Well, Alex left alone, bottom of the ramp. Sends some shots flying up towards B lane, but misses out on the chance to get the kill. Now with 35 seconds left, running towards Jugs, and he's positioned himself very well to close it out, and it will be Foot to take the lead. 7-5 in the lead over Bait here on Ancient.